So you're thinking about buying a home in Alberta. That is a huge, exciting step. But let's be honest, the legal side of things, it can feel like a lot. In the next few minutes, we're going to break it all down, piece by piece, so you can feel really good about moving forward. Let's jump right in.
It's a seriously exciting journey, right? From that first house viewing to the moment you finally get the keys in your hand.
But, there's also that stack of legal paperwork that can look pretty intimidating. Don't even worry about it. We're going to walk through exactly what you need to understand. We've got four main things on our roadmap today. First, we'll talk about the system that actually guarantees your ownership. Then, we'll look at the most important document you'll see, the certificate of title. After that, we'll decode the property's official blueprint and wrap things up with a really crucial rule for married homeowners called dower rights. Okay, let's start with the absolute foundation of property ownership here. In Alberta, the whole system is built to do one thing: give you, the homeowner, complete peace of mind. And it's all thanks to something called the Torrens system. So what is it exactly? Well, the Torrens system is basically a way of registering land where the government itself puts its stamp on it and says, yep, this ownership information is correct. This makes buying and selling a whole lot safer and simpler than it is in other places. And it's all built on three really simple but powerful ideas.
First up, we have the mirror principle. And it's just what it sounds like. What you see is what you get. This means that the main ownership document, which is called the certificate of title, is a perfect mirror. It shows you every single current fact about that property. No hidden surprises.
Next is the curtain principle. Picture this. A curtain is literally drawn behind the current ownership title. You don't have to go digging into the property's entire history to make sure everything's legit. The current title is the whole story. And believe me, that saves a ton of time and stress. And finally, there's the insurance principle. This is the government's ultimate backup plan. If by some small chance there's a mistake on the title and you lose money because of it, the government will actually compensate you. It's a safety net that makes the whole system so solid. Put them all together, and you've got a system you can really trust. So this brings us to what is probably the single most important piece of paper in Alberta real estate, the certificate of title. This is the practical result of that mirror principle we just talked about. It's your one true source of information. To put it simply, the certificate of title is your official, government-backed proof of ownership. It is the final word. If your name is on that document as the owner, you own it. End of story. It's that clear-cut. So what kind of info are we talking about here? Well, on the title, you'll find the full legal description, which is more than just the street address, plus the municipality, a special link number, and of course the names of the registered owners. And this is a big one. It also lists all the registered interests, things like mortgages or easements, where someone else might have a right to use a part of your land. Okay, so the title tells you who owns the property, but what about the what? Like, what's actually built on the land and where is it? For that, we need to look at our next key document, the Real Property Report, or RPR. Just think of it as the property's official blueprint. An RPR is basically a super detailed drawing that's made by a certified Alberta land surveyor. Its whole job is to show you exactly where the property lines are and then map out where everything else, the house, the garage, the deck, even the fence, is located within those lines. Now, it's a bit of a process. First, the surveyor does all their measurements and creates the report. Then that report gets sent over to the local municipality. They take a look and check it against their local rules, called land use bylaws. If everything is where it's supposed to be, they give it a stamp of approval called a certificate of compliance. And that's the document that lenders and buyers really want to see. But what happens when things don't line up perfectly? This is actually where the RPR becomes so important, because it spots these little issues before they can turn into huge, expensive problems for you. Two common problems you might see are encroachments and setback issues. An encroachment is when something from your property, say the corner of your garage, is actually built over the line onto your neighbor's land. A setback issue is a bit different. That's when a building on your property is too close to your own property line, which breaks the local rules about how much space you have to leave. All right, we've covered the system, we've covered the key documents. Now for our last section, we're going to talk about a very unique and really important piece of Alberta law called the Dower Act. And this one is especially critical if you're a married homeowner. So let me ask you a question. If you're married and the house is only in your name, can you just wake up one day and decide to sell it without getting your spouse's okay?
Well, in many cases, the answer is a hard no, and that's because of the Dower Act. It's a law designed to protect the rights of the spouse whose name isn't on the title. It basically stops the home from being sold out from under them without their consent.
Now, dower rights don't apply to every single situation. 3 specific things have to be true. 1, the owners have to be legally married. 2, only one of their names can be on the certificate of title. And 3, at least one of them has to have lived on that property at some point during the marriage. If you check all 3 boxes, then dower rights are in play. The bottom line here is super simple. If dower rights apply, you absolutely cannot sell, mortgage, or even lease the property for more than 3 years unless you have the written consent from the spouse who isn't on the title. It's a mandatory protection, plain and simple.
And there you have it. We've covered the Torrens system that guarantees your ownership, the certificate of title that proves it, the real property report that maps it all out, and the Dower Act that protects family rights. So, knowing all this, the system, the documents, and the rules, are you ready to take on your property journey with some real confidence?